Um, you just want all the, he's just sitting here beside me like, bet me, please, bet me. Hello BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with the Reading Habits tag. So, as per usual, I was not actually tagged by anybody for this, but I've seen it going around BookTube recently, and it looked like a lot of fun, so I thought I would jump in and do it myself. The tag was originally created by the Book Jazz, and I will leave a link to that video in the down bar below, along with a list of all of these questions. So, question number 1. Do you have a certain place at home for reading? The answer to that would be no. I don't have like a little corner, you know, with a chair and a lamp and all that I can sit and read at. I sit on the couch, or I read in bed. The problem is lately what I've been noticing is if I try and read before I go to sleep, like if I'm already in bed, my body pretty much says, you're in bed, go to sleep. So if I want to read before bed, I will like shut down the computer, my cell phone, my tablet, the whole 9 yards, and I'll sit out here on the couch with a blanket. And I'll read for like a half an hour before bed. That's a habit I'm trying to get into, to shut off the electronics for the day, to shut off, you know, because they actually, I've read like studies and stuff that they say that you should start turning off your devices like an hour or half an hour before you go to bed. It's better for sleep or something like that, and I have found I've been sleeping a bit better. So that's what I've been doing. But yeah, so I don't have a specific area, pretty much anywhere. Question number 2, bookmark or random piece of paper. I read in a tablet, or I read on my Kindle, so I just shut it down. But if I am reading a physical book, it is always a bookmark. I love the bookmarks that come from the book depository. The ones that came out a couple years ago, and they were like based on books, or they had people send in submissions. Those are my favorites. I still have like about 10 of those, and I'll use those occasionally. Number 3, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop at a chapter or after a certain amount of pages? No, I can just stop reading. As long as I'm at the end of the paragraph, I'm good. I can just shut the book down and go. That has never ever bothered me, because growing up I was always reading in spurts, like short spurts. So it was just easy just for me to close the book and just pick it back up. I might have to reread the paragraph prior to, but really it was never a big deal for me. Question number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? This is a big one because the answer is yes. And I know a lot of people are like, no, I pretty much read all the time. Right from when I was a kid, you know, in the mornings getting ready for school, you know, my breakfast would be on the table and I'd come downstairs with a book in my hand and I'd sit at the kitchen table and read. If for some reason my book was already in my backpack or I'd left it up in my room, I would be the kid who read the back of the cereal box. Like, I always had to have something to read, to eat, and even, or to have breakfast at least. It's like a habit I've gotten into since I was a kid. And even for that stretch of years that I really wasn't reading nearly as much as I did when I was younger, or as I am now, I still always had a book for that first meal in the morning. I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? But, you know, I would read an entire book over the course of, you know, a month's worth of breakfasts. And that's where I would get my reading done. And now, like, I read when I'm eating my breakfast. I read when I'm at lunch, like at work at lunch. Dinner too. Dinner's not formal. I mean, it's just me and my husband. We don't even have a proper kitchen table or dining room or anything like that. We have tray tables. I mean, we're uber fancy. But, you know, I mean, it's a little bit different. If it's Sunday dinner at my grandmother's or Christmas dinner or something, no, I'm not going to sit and read at the table. Or if we're out for dinner at a restaurant, again, no, I'm not going to sit and read at the table. But if it's just me and him, I mean, it's casual, and pretty much because of the hours that we work, we generally sometimes don't even take dinner together. So it's not that kind of a meal, do you know what I mean? And when I was a kid, I'd never ever read at the dinner table, because that was like, you know, the 4 of us, me, mom, dad, my brother, around the kitchen table having dinner. I never did that, so don't think that I was that kid. But, you know, the ones that you see now with the device in their hands as they're, like, you know, at a restaurant, drives me bonkers. Anyway, next question. Oh, and for drink, I always have something to drink on me. I mean, if I'm going to sit here on a Saturday afternoon and read a book, I am not going to go without liquid. You know, like, I need water or tea. So that's always, even when I'm knitting or anything. Multitasking, music or TV while reading. Yeah, again, I've heard a lot of people answer this, oh no, I need complete silence. No, I cannot. No, it doesn't matter. Yesterday, my husband and I were in Toys R Us, and it was busy. My husband was looking for Star Wars stuff, and we were walking around. There was like tons of kids. I mean, you guys have been to a Toys R Us on a Saturday, I'm sure. You know how busy they can be. So I had my phone because I didn't have my e-reader. I left it at home. But I had my phone and I had the book that I was currently reading. And literally, I'm following him around Toys R Us reading my book, oblivious to anything else that's going on. He was getting mad at me. He's like, "Are you even listening to me?" I'm like, "No." Um, I was being honest. Sorry, cat. Yes, sir. But anyway, so I can listen to music. I can have people talking around me. I can, if my husband's watching a movie, I can absolutely, or a TV show or something, I can absolutely be reading while he's watching that show, and it doesn't bother me. Now, if I am, like, invested in the movie or watching the movie or show, no, I can't be reading because I can't pay attention to the two plot lines at the same time. I actually used to be able to do that when I was a kid. My parents would be watching something on television, and I would be in the living room watching or reading my book, and I could pretty much tell you what was going on the television along with what was going on in my book. So, you know, I've unfortunately lost that talent as an adult, but if I'm watching a baseball game, like yesterday I was watching the Red Sox game, I'm absolutely able to read while doing that because there's not a plot that you're trying to pay attention to. You look up every now and then when you hear fans cheer and, you know, oh, we scored or we didn't score, whatever, you know, like, it's not something you have to give your full attention to, but I can read any place, anytime. It really, really does not affect me at all. Next question. One book at a time or several at once? I used to be able to pick up and put down books at random and be able to follow all the plot lines. I can't do that anymore. I generally have a book on the go all the time, and I have an audiobook on the go all the time. And I think I'm able to flip between the two because they're in different formats. My brain just is able to tell me this is the audiobook and this is, you know, the ebook essentially. And I know the different plots and I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. But I'm not, you know, if you look at my Goodreads page, you'll see that I typically have 2 or 3 books on the go. And sometimes I have a print book that I'll leave beside my bedside table. And that's the one that if I do try and read in bed for that 15 minutes before my body tells me it's time to sleep, typically that's a nonfiction book, and I can read that too, but usually it's only 2 books. Question number 7. Reading at home or everywhere? As I just said in a previous question, I can read anywhere. I was reading in Toys R Us yesterday walking around. I can read, you know, at everywhere. I read at work, I read at home. I have knitting friends who will knit everywhere. They bring their knitting with them, like a sock generally, and if they're standing in line at, like, you know, the bank or anything like that, or waiting in a doctor's office, they'll sit and knit. I can't do that because I'm one of those knitters that, without getting too much into knitting, because that's not what this is about, I count rows. Like, for example, if I'm knitting on a sock, I'll count, I know that I have 12 rows in an inch for that sock. So if I'm knitting that sock to 6 inches, I need 12 times 6. And I keep track of that on a knitting row counter that I actually have on my phone and on my tablet. But I have friends who, okay, the sock needs to be 6 inches, they'll just knit, and then they'll get to a certain point and measure it. I can't do that. It's this weird thing that I don't do, and so it makes it difficult for me just to sit and knit in public, because, or like if I'm in line somewhere or at the doctor's office, because if I'm doing that, unless I have something to write down how many rows I've done, I'll get confused, and then I'll get home and go, oh my god, how many rows did I knit? Reading, completely different. Again, I can pick it up, I can read, like, even if it's 2 paragraphs, and then I get called up to the teller, I can then put the phone back down and I'm okay, right? What I think is, like, you're knitting away and then you get called, it's like you gotta shove everything back in and put it's too much hassle. I can read anywhere. Number 8, reading out loud or silently in your head. This one confused me when I first heard it. I think the first person I saw do this tag was Steve, over at Steve Donahue. And he did a really good explanation of it, because it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why would you be reading out loud? Like, I can just picture my husband and I sitting on the couch together, and me sitting there reading out loud. It seemed kind of ridiculous. But when he explained it, that, you know, do you actually say the words in your head as you're reading? No. I can read quickly. I mean, I'm not, you know, a speed reader by any stretch of the imagination, but I can read relatively quickly. And I do that because I literally just read. I don't, until I stop to think about it, it's something I didn't think about. So that's what makes me think that I just do it silently in my head. Number 9, do you read ahead or even skip pages occasionally? I generally don't read ahead. Time I skip pages is, and I know this is funny because I read mostly contemporary romance, is sex scenes. To be completely honest, like, I'll read, like, the first one just to see what the adult factor is, for lack of a better term. Like, is it really raunchy? Is it not so bad? Is it backed off? But generally, if there's more than one, sometimes, like, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, they're having sex again. Flip, 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 you know, until it's, oh, okay, there we go. Because you get the gist of it. Generally, not a lot of major plot points are given out at those points. And, you know, I'll skip that. But that's really it. Unless, if I'm not enjoying a book, I'll DNF it, which I don't generally do unless I'm really not enjoying a book. I used to, when I used to read print books years ago, I used to sometimes skip to the end just to see, like, if it was a mystery, to see if I was right. But I don't do that anymore. And it's kind of difficult to do with any book anyway, so. Number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. Again, reading physical books, break the spine, I don't care. It used to drive me insane. And my mother, I swear she used to do it to drive me nuts, because I used to loan her books. And she used to take, because I used to have, like, let's say this was a pristine book, right? I used to, like, lend it to her, and literally she'd sit there and she'd give me this evil, evil look, and then she'd go crack, and she'd break it open. I'd be like, ah! But yeah, no, it doesn't bother me. Now it just shows that a book has been loved. I look at it, and I'm not being funny, or mean, but, like, I'll look at people on BookTube, and I'll see their bookshelves, and if they have, like, paperback books, and they're all pristine, I'm like, thinking in my head, have you even read those? Because I know some people are so uber careful. If you want to be that careful with a book and you're so concerned about wrecking it, read any book. Just a suggestion. But that's just me. Number 11, do you write in your books? No, I don't write in my books, but I do highlight quite a bit in the e-reader. When I get to passages and stuff like that that I particularly like, I will do the highlight feature on the Kindle, which I really like. I don't take notes. I never have. I read for enjoyment. I'll review a book and I'll talk about them in my wrap-ups, but I don't review a book. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not writing a critical essay on this novel. If I was, I would absolutely be keeping notes, but I'm not. Passages that I like, opening lines that I like, stuff like that, I'll highlight. And the reason I do that is because at the end of the year, I do plan on doing something in my big year-end wrap-up with favorite, like, you know, favorite quotes and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of keep those. And there's this really cool thing on the Kindle that says my clippings, and every time you highlight something, it ends up in this folder on your Kindle. So you can go back and you can know, you know, what book that was in, you know, when you highlighted it and all that cool stuff. So that's kind of a lot of fun. Question number 12, who do you tag? Whoever wants to do this. Like I said, I think this tag has been around for a lot of years. I was looking up to find someone who had the questions listed under their video, so I could have them all, you know, written down in front of me, copy and paste them essentially. And I saw some people who did this 3 years ago, so I don't know whether it was the exact same tag or not, but this has been around for a while. So if you're just seeing this, or you've been seeing it around, and you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do decide to do this tag, please post in the comments below and let me know, because I'd love to go and watch your video. And if you have any replies to any of these questions, any thoughts or comments, again, please post those as well. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.